Welcome back to Bazaar, I'm Inko, and it's time for another patch review. A hotfix went live about a day after the official launch of the game, and while at the time we thought this was just a hotfix to fix server stability issues, about 8 hours later now we still haven't gotten any notes on it, but a lot of changes have gone into the game, so I'll go ahead and document them here. This is all from howbazaar.gg, who are using data mining to compile all the changes in the hotfix. Their patch notes are very helpful, because if you actually go over to the official patch notes, you'll see that the official launch is still the only thing that's listed there. So we'll be using howbazaar.gg for this. And some of these patch notes are really minor, things that no one would object to being like thrown into a server stability maintenance sort of thing, like fixing a spelling mistake in nanobots. Some of these changes were like good emergency nerfs, other ones I kind of raised my eyebrow at, and in general, good patch. Couple problems with it, but I do kind of wish it had been communicated that there would be a patch in any capacity, at least like to the point of giving patch notes 6 hours after it launches. But oh well, let's talk about what changed, let's communicate that for everyone who's not quite as in the loop as I am. Moving on to Dooley items, the claw arm's actually been implemented properly. It looks like since it went down to silver starting tier, likely it wasn't even correctly added in with the original patch, so that needed to be done. Coolant is kind of similar. Previously, the first 3 tiers of coolant were one more target of the coolant for 1 second on each, and then at Diamond, instead of gaining a 4th target, it just jumped to 4 seconds, which was very obviously unintentional. Likely it was supposed to be this way in the original implementation, where it was upshifted to silver, and this broken interaction on the last one was supposed to be a tier that didn't exist. So they fixed that, and thank God. It was the most broken thing you've ever seen. I had a loss where one of my runs got absolutely robbed by 3D printer diamond coolant diamond fangs, and it's like, yeah, that's just whole board freeze, can't do shit about that. Dualtron has had some slight updates. It has been given the shield tag, and it's had its shield enchantment changed. Both seem good. Yellow Mantis is getting directly buffed. It's interesting to me this is the only Mantis that's getting buffed, but I guess it's also the Mantis that is most competed with by other Dooley items, so it makes sense. Or the only bug, rather. But now it's going to haste one more target at every single tier, which is pretty good. The bulk of these changes will be map changes, and my one big gripe with this entire patch is this first one. It's the Alembic change. It used to be when you visit a merchant, transform the small item to the left of this into a random potion. Now it's at the start of each day. Mak has 100-ish items, I think a little bit more, not quite sure the exact number. A huge chunk of them are reagents or directly involve transforming reagents to scale themselves in some way or generating reagents. There are a total of 2 items in the Mak pool that actually do this, other than going to the mandala shop, right? It seems to me really weird that there are only 2 items that do this. I would really expect to see a 3rd, 4th at least, and it seems a little bit too hard to transform things. So seeing a nerf on this, where it goes from you can transform things like 4 times a day to once a day, really hurts. It's not even about the power level. Like, I sort of get it from a power level option, but from a game feel perspective, this nerf to Alembic feels really bad. Additionally, it's bugged and doesn't work properly. If you have something that generates a lead or a reagent at the start of the day and it appears to the left of the Alembic, no matter how your stash is ordered, it will not transform something that spawned at start of day, meaning that it just doesn't function with the reagent generators that it's directly meant to combo with. So it's simultaneously like a really big nerf to a mechanic that feels a little bit under-fleshed out in the first place, and then on top of that, it's bugged and doesn't work with the things it's supposed to. So that needs to be buffed back, even if only to fix the bug. But I would like to see, if Alembic is going to stay like this, more cards that do what Alembic does. It feels very emaciated, the whole transmute mechanic, just because there are so few methods of transmuting, and that's why I raise my eyebrow at this nerf so much. Athanor has been nerfed, but it's probably a really good nerf. It was previously reload all your items, now it's reload a number dependent on tier, and it previously gave you a small potion at the start of each day, no longer does that. I kinda wish this was still here. This probably wasn't really a problem in my eyes. This is good though. People would make builds where they would just randomly dupe a bunch of potions that disrupted your opponent, freeze potions and rainbow potions, and then they would just reload them all, and with their like 5 shitty disruption potions, you would eventually die to the one potion that actually did something, right? This means that you need to actually like care about your board construction to some degree. You can't just run Athanor and 7 potions. I think this is a better design for Athanor. I am sad to see the potion generation going away. I think that was a cool part of the card. Don't really know that it needed the 2nd nerf in one patch. But as far as victims of heavy-handed nerfs, Athanor is nowhere near the worst one. There are buffs, however. It's not all nerfs for Mak. Calcinator is directly buffed. Its cooldown is lowered by 2 seconds, base burn very slightly lower, but the scaling burn has been doubled at every tier. Later down the line, we'll talk about Retort, the poison equivalent of this card, and it got pretty much the exact same change. I think that's a really good change as well. I think the simple fact is that both of these items really don't scale enough to be usable past like day 10. Even on day 10, they're getting sketchy, and that's on like a run where you're transmuting non-stop. So seeing them scale much more effectively makes them much more valuable as anything other than lead generators. And don't get me wrong, lead generators are great if you can actually transmute them for the economy, which is a little bit debatable now, but the fact that it wasn't great even if you scaled it all game, I like the change. I'm glad it's some buffs and not just all nerfs. Next up, they changed Catalyst. Again, this one's a buff. Now it's buy or sell 3 reagents, not just buy. So if you're trying to push the Catalyst very quickly, you can do that much more easily. And also, it's just generally not as difficult. Like, I don't know, it's just a smoother, more intuitive card now. Coming down to Covetous Raven, it has a 2-second longer cooldown. I don't know. I didn't see anyone playing with Covetous Raven. Apparently, it needed a nerf. I don't know. It also had a crit chance that looks like it didn't make any sense. So the enchantment change is just like an integrity change, maybe from an old version of the card that had crit or something. But I'm not really sure this needed the 2-second nerf. Maybe it was I'll trust that it could have been overpowered. There were just so many more broken things in Mac that it wasn't a big deal. Crocodile Tears got a massive buff, going from 4, 6, 8 damage each time your opponent takes damage to 10, 20, 30, which is much, much better. Previously, even if I was looking at like a Sandstorm build, Crocodile Tears wouldn't be making any sense. It was just so slow and scaled so poorly that it really wasn't very usable. This feels like a much better card. I still don't even know that it's good, but now it might actually be playable. Dragon's Breath is the exact same, it just had its wording cleaned up very slightly. Energy Potion is the biggest victim of heavy-handed nerfs in the entire patch. And like, alright, I'll be real with you, if something's gonna get the heavy-handed nerfs, it should have been Energy Potion, but it still hurts me a little. It took not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 separate nerfs. Oh, I'm sorry, 5. I forgot about the Icy nerf. So first of all, it's been tier shifted from bronze to silver. So previously, the diamond version of this potion just doesn't exist. The new diamond is the old gold, the new gold is the old silver, the new silver is the old bronze, and there is no bronze version. Next up, the cooldown is increased to 6 seconds. So it's a 1 second increase in the cooldown. Third is just this one word, other. It no longer hastes itself, which makes it a tremendously less effective source of haste for your board. Previously, if you had a gold haste potion, it would haste itself for 3 seconds. Its cooldown was 5 seconds. It would be hasted 100% of the time, and you would full haste your board forever. Matt can sort the ammo, no problem. Now, if you have a diamond haste potion, it will go off every 6 seconds for 3 seconds of haste and give you 50% haste uptime. It is massively worse at every tier, and at diamond is when it's the closest. It's the even bigger gaps at lower tiers. It's still good, don't get me wrong. Haste potion's still good. I would have preferred to see like 2 out of the 3 nerfs. And then Icy and Slow did need nerfs. These enchants are like, I'm not going to call these heavy-handed nerfs. These were outliers and problems. I actually didn't know about Icy. It used to be freeze all small enemy items for 2 seconds. Now it's half a second. Sure, that's good. I did not know it was Gorgon for small items, but I'm glad it's getting nerfed. Though what I did know about was the heavy enchant. It was slow all enemy items for 2 seconds. Now it's slow 1. In some of the Mac footage I'm recording, I'm talking about like intentionally re-rolling slow potions trying to get heavy energy potion. When I'm going up against other Macs, I'm like, look, I need to run a second energy potion because there's like a 50-50 shot they have a heavy energy potion. And without 2 energy potions, I'll end up slowed into the ground. I need the extra haste to push through the slow. This enchant was the most, not the most broken thing in the game, but it was the most consistently available broken enchant in the entire game and was really warping the meta. It did need to go. So 5 nerfs all on energy potion. 2 of them I think were just exceptionally good decisions and needed to happen. Of the other 3, I don't know. I feel like it didn't need the cooldown nerf or it didn't need to have the tier adjustment on top of not affecting itself. It's just a little bit too much. It felt to me like energy potion was designed to be one of the strong items in Mac and now it's just kind of good. It's still good. I don't think it's a bad card. It's nowhere near unplayable. It has crazy synergy with stuff like Boiling Flask. And because dupes are so readily available and there are other sources of haste, you can still haste the energy potion. I don't know, man. I've had it for like 6 games, but I still feel like this could have taken a lighter touch. It didn't need all of these nerfs all at once. any one of these top 3 nerfs could have gone, and I think it would have been a better change. Still, though, Energy Potion needed the nerf. Hopefully it gets buffed back if it turns out to be as much weaker as I think it is, and I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that it seems like it was supposed to be a like character-defining item up there with like Double Barrel or Drill. And I don't know, if Drill took 5 nerfs the day after it released, I'd be pretty upset. Anyways, moving on, Fireflies has been reduced by 2 seconds in cooldown. It is the burn card where every time you slow it gets a bit more burn. Previously it was just too slow, it wasn't very good. That's a great change. I like seeing cards that are underperforming buffed in small incremental ways. Frozen Flames Icy Enchant has been changed to double freeze duration as opposed to Gorgon skill, so sure, why not? That just seems like a better design since it already froze stuff. The Incense has been changed to target more things instead of slowing for a longer duration. For me, this is neither here nor there, like technically it's a very minor nerf, but who's actually running Incense past Silver tier anyway? Letter Opener got a buff, and it's actually a buff I'm very happy to see. It's the weapon where it has a 100% crit chance and it loses 25 each time you attack with it. Now it gains an additional 25% crit chance up to 175 at Diamond, so as it ranks up in tier, you can attack more times before it stops critting. Next up, we have the Potion Distillery. It's the other item able to transform your reagents, and it has taken a tier nerf. It's gone from bronze to silver. Outside of that, it's just what you expect for a tier adjustment. The old diamond is gone, the new diamond is the old gold, same for cooldown reduction and ammo. And again, I don't really mind the idea of nerfing the tier on this. The top end of it was very strong. It was a very good card. My issue with it is that all of this reagent bullshit is available at bronze, and the ability to transform it doesn't start until silver, at which point there are a total of 2 cards that do it, and it just feels like this core mechanic is not something I can interact with enough. It feels to me like Chunk of Gold from Transmuting Lead is way too valuable, and rather than nerfing Chunk of Gold, they've removed access to all of the transmute stuff. I would love to see the transmute stuff available at bronze and available from more than 2 sources. Because there are so many reagents in your bronze shops. There are so many things that generate reagents or care about transforming reagents, like all throughout the first 3 days. That's like half or more of the items you're seeing. And then the stuff that actually does the transforming is incredibly rare. And it's been made rarer and less effective with this patch. Like, individually, I think the Potion Distillery change is good. If there were like 2 or 3 other things transfiguring your shit, I wouldn't care. But there aren't, and now it feels like this core part of Mac is very hard to interact with. Moving on to Quicksilver, it's just had a wording change, it's exactly the same item. Coolant Ink now specifies no other weapons. I guess that's so that it can take the Obsidian enchant. So good change, I guess. They gave Recycling Bin 1 more regen at every tier. That's great. Frankly, Recycling Bin was just about the worst way to play the potion game, so just making it vastly better seems fine. I say vastly. It's doubled at silver, which is much better, but it's still probably not great. Just sort of a weird mid-game item that you'll use sometimes. As I mentioned earlier, Retort got basically the same change that you saw on Calcinator, and it's a good change. Next up, we have Runic Potion. It's going up to silver tier, which I actually like a lot. Most of the things you would care about putting Runic Potion on are not bronze items anyway. Typically, I don't want to see something that is a synergy piece available at 1 tier, and then the stuff it really synergizes with starting at higher tiers. You may have noticed this based on me repeatedly harping about it with the transform mechanics all being at silver tier. However, this is the exact reason why it's good to tier nerf Runic Potion. You don't want it when you're using a bunch of bronze items. You want it when you're using stuff like Staff of the Moose, or Runic Blade, or Plague Glaive, or any other of the high tier carry weapons. You don't really want it when you have a random bronze weapon that you're not really attached to. Now, as for the rest of this, it's sort of a weird change for me. Now it has scaling ammo with tier, which no other potion does, and it's kind of random. The amount it hastes your weapons for is static, no longer scaling with levels. And the weapons it gives lifesteal to is just 1 each time you use it instead of scaling with level. Now, I'm kind of okay with this change. I think it really doesn't impact the card that much, because generally speaking, like, the point of this is to give lifesteal to your 1 important weapon. You can figure out how to make it happen. But, like, who's upgrading a Runic Potion so that they can get 2 more uses of give your weapon haste for 1 second, right? And if this is meant to give a bunch of items lifesteal, this is not a good way to do it. You'd rather do it with, like, Boiling Flask or Athanor or something that reloads it, or an ammo skill. I don't know. I feel like the difference in a silver and a diamond version of this card is just how easy it is to use if you're bad at the game. Runic Potion's upgrade path makes no sense to me at all. I approve of the tier shift, just like, and while I can get the idea of nerfing it, removing the haste duration scaler just seems very weird. This is an eyebrow raise for me where I don't really get it. What I do get is Secret Formula. Secret Formula does sort of read like a Yu-Gi-Oh card now. Previously it had like the active set here and then 2 things in the passive set in the bottom. Now it's all just in the active set. It's just a big wall of text when you look at it, but it needed this change. Its cooldown has dropped by 2 seconds to 10, its regen scaling is slightly better, but the tremendously important thing that's kind of hard to see here, this is not just changed on the passive, this is now part of the activation of the item. So it no longer passively adds your regen to the things to the left and right of it as burn and poison. Now you have to actually wait 10 seconds minus whatever haste and charge for this to go off. So the crazy broken instant kill Athanor builds, which I'm sure you have seen plenty of in the first couple of days of Mac footage, are a thing of the past. You can still use this, it can still be strong, but a 10-second scaling item is not broken at a fundamental level the way the old Secret Formula was, and this is a good change. But we're back to raising our eyebrows because Venom took a nerf, and I'm not really sure why. If you know, give me a heads up. It used to work on adjacent items, now it works on the one to the left. I don't really know why this is a problem. I don't... Like, Poppy is in this class? Maybe that's the argument, that this is to Duct Tape as Defense Grid is to Poppy, so it should be one-sided? I've got nothing. And they also reworked a bunch of the enchants for this, but it's all just changing the functionality in the same way. I really don't know why Venom needed a nerf. Unlike Viper Cane very clearly needed a nerf. This is the same thing that happened on the, what's it called? The Secret Formula? Yeah. These effects on the Viper Cane that have been changed were passive previously. Now they happen when the Viper Cane activates. That's really important, because previously, if you had Viper Cane, what is it, Staff of the Moose, and the Soul Ring, then their passive effects would loop indefinitely and they would all hit damage cap before anything went off. It was very broken. Led to some very funny screenshots. Never saw one myself, never assembled it myself, but I was not happy about that interaction being in the game. Speaking of good changes and bad interactions, Vitality Potion has had all of its scaling enchants cut by half value. Shield is now half the heal value, Poison is now 5% instead of 10% like everything else, same with Fiery, same with Obsidian. So just since it scales to your max health value, the scaling enchants have been cut in half. Good change. I think that's probably the only smooth, easy change you can make to Vitality Potion, other than temporarily removing it. It's still very, very good with those enchants, but no longer just automatically killing your opponents. Although I will say, since you can multicast it and guarantee it crits, it's still just about exactly as good as it used to be. But this makes it a lot more work to get it there, as opposed to just, if you get Obsidian, it kills your opponent. Next up, Billboard gained the shield tag. Apparently it was missing it and couldn't show up at the appropriate shops. Vanessa got the cannonade change that was in the patch notes. Apparently that just didn't make it into the live game. And they walked back the catfish buff. Not entirely, they brought it down to doubling Catfish's value. The original patch tripled its value. So this is still a massive buff to Catfish, which I still don't know that Catfish needed, but now it's understandable. I'm so glad they walked this back, because this was one of the things in the original patch where I was like, no, this is wrong. It wasn't a thing where I had like opinions on it and concerns. I was just like, there's no reason Catfish should be this good. So I'm very happy to see them walk that back immediately. And lastly, we have some skill changes for the new max skills, Brewmaster and Vital Renewal. Brewmaster has gone from gold to diamond, standard tier shift, where the old gold is the new diamond. Previously at diamond it gave +2 multicast, which was very silly. Now it's only +1, and frankly that's still very good. This is just retooled for potions, right? And lastly, Vital Renewal got a slight tweak in how it works. It used to be when you slow, freeze, poison, or burn, a regen item gains 1, 2, or 3 regen for the fight. Now it specifies with an item to sort of limit just how broken the synergies can get with some items that do really crazy stuff. Or sorry, some skills that do really crazy stuff. I don't know what specific interaction they're fixing here, but I imagine there are countless little ways where this can become overpowered. So I'm happy to see stuff like this. This just seems like a good game integrity change. To wrap this up, I want to say that the patch was on the whole fantastic. I think pretty much every change is a change I can get behind and a change I like. A lot of them were good balance changes, things that snuck through the patch and should have been changed already, things where it was good integrity changes or just emergency bug fixes, like the Viper Cane interaction needed to go. Secret Formula needed a nerf. Almost the entire patch is good, but the stuff with Alembic and Potion Distillery makes me very sad. And it's because it's not a balance decision. That's not the problem. I would like to see both of these at bronze with the old effect on Alembic. I would like to see 2 more items in the pool to actually transmute stuff. This core mechanic of Mak is too hard to engage with in its current state. There is no other character where you have to pick a specific hour event to activate a core mechanic of your character repeatedly every day. And in some runs, that's how it is with Mak. It's just up to chance whether or not you can actually find a potion distillery. And you'd much prefer the potion distillery, because if you get Alembic, that is 1/4 as many transmutes, and they're delayed. And I think the issue with Alembic, from a balance perspective, is nothing to do with what Alembic is doing. I don't think Alembic or Potion Distillery are too strong. I think Chunk of Gold is too strong. Chunk of Gold sells for 5, 10, 20, 40 gold right now, depending on tier. If that were like 4, 8, 12, 16, maybe transmuting shit all the time wouldn't be quite as game-breaking as it currently is. I don't know what value it needs to be at, but transmuting needs to be something Mak can do freely, or else we need to gut like 10% of his card pool, because they all reference this mechanic he doesn't actually do very often. Anyways, that'll be all for now. Thank you for your time, and good luck out there on the patch. If you think Mak is no longer OP, you're out of your mind. I have started a series where I'm trying to win streak as long as I can on the guy, and this patch is not going to stop me from doing that. Mak has a lot of broken stuff. Athanor, as an example, is still a great build around. It's perfectly fine. It's a little bit harder to make Mak completely busted, but there are still plenty of avenues to do it. There's a lot of balance work to be done, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people cook up with him now that the obvious stuff with secret formula has been gotten out of the way. Anyways, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. If you could do the whole YouTube algorithm dance, like, comment, subscribe, that stuff really does help the channel grow. I really do appreciate it.